Hello. I remembered to unmute myself this time. Welcome to Community Chronicles. This is my new friend. We finally have the art, the Phoenix Firestar art for Sir Reginald. Just look at this Moose King. Just marvel at the Moose King. Sir Reginald Tonberry the Fourth. It's not my scuffed little sketch of a moose man with really long arms. He's finally been replaced with some proper art by the wonderful Phoenix Firestar, who did the art for the main characters. All the NPCs and whatnot are by me, but the main characters I have had done by Phoenix. When last we left off, a duo accompanied by the Vandalian Lancers, Walther Van Dorn, the founder heirs of the Academy, has tasked you with helping the Arcblades, who are the constabulary of the capital city of Ascali, with finding out who was responsible specifically for stealing a very valuable shipment of blessed glass steel instruments used for medical and scientific research. And they were last seen escaping through the Vandalian Quarter, which is a place of people of basically a refugee status, but over at least a couple of generations now, so they very much lived there as a people, feeling abandoned by the Vandalians, who they fought for. And your investigation has led you to a secret underground market built out of the sewers, just out of the sewers, underneath the Vandalian Quarter. You find a couple of cronies that seem to be pointed out and identified to you as those part of the leading gang or group that seems to be managing this secret underground market. Upon a stealthy follow, at least you think is stealthy, you are led to a long dark corridor and an iron door. This iron door, as you approached it and saw the thugs go into it, has been left open. There is no one on the other side of this door, but there is a long hallway. When we go to the combat overlay, the short sword is a scimitar. It is +1 more. Also the same goes for the warhammer here. It is a +1 warhammer. These are not +1 magical. These are +1 refined make. That means they are still non-magical weapons. They are just made very well. So you notice it goes for some way. I made this reveal angle a bit odd because the door is swinging towards north. You wouldn't be able to see behind the door. There's only a bit of torchlight. You do have dark vision, but it's dim ahead. There's stone walls. There is a single torch sconce. Steph Winterlight used one of the oils. It's part of species abilities. When rubbed on specific tattoos, they glow and give bonuses. One in particular that they have been granted, the bonus, it is the Mark of the Swift. Steph now has a +1 to dexterity. So they have a +5 to dexterity right now. They have that for about an hour, I believe, if I recall correctly. You commanded the Vandalian guards to tail you guys. So Steph was going to be the vanguard. These two were going to be lining the door, kind of preparing for the worst. How far is Steph Winterlight walking in here? You know they went through this door, but you don't see them anymore. By the time you caught up to this open door, they were no longer there. We'll say that Steph and Reginald tread lightly, which I'm not going to ask for a stealth check on that. A long hallway. This is all very dimly lit for you. You do see another sconce in the background and another door. As you approach here, I'd like you to roll a perception check for Steph, because they're ahead. Are we bringing the soldiers with us? That's my next question. Are the soldiers coming with, or are we telling them to stay behind by the doors? Stay close but behind. Okay. 14. Okay, 14, 21. You rolled a 21. So that's going to be your stealth roll. Roll me perception, which is going to be a +5. You get a 15, which is great. That's exactly like what you need to hit this. But the masonry is pretty patchwork. You can tell a lot of the roadworks were repurposed in these hallways, especially like the archways and everything. So they're very uneven. Some are sticking out more than others, but it's almost deliberate in a way. And you can tell that There are more bits of masonry sticking out by the door, by the walls the further in you go. And so you peek around it a little bit more and you notice this. There are corridors on either side that you wouldn't have seen otherwise had you just kept your eye on the prize. So noticing that the masonry was a little bit off, a little bit strategically placed on the walls, has revealed there are little alcoves or little corridors that are just tucked away. Can you sneak a peek at both sides? You already rolled a really good stealth and really good perception, so I'm gonna call this a success of being able to do this. But how are you doing this? Crouching for the win? Okay, so you're gonna go for a very stealthy crawl. As you do this, you take that peek. One of those bruisers. The door is open of another corridor. They seem to be leaning against the stone, holding their club, looking with their head like with their chin up and their eyes over, waiting around the corner. But he looks a little bored. It looks like that look of like has turned into like he's just kind of waiting. He doesn't hear any footsteps. He's not getting excited about it. He's just like, I guess they're taking the sweet time. Like he hasn't heard you guys sneak through. As you see this, I mean, you're at boot level to him, and he's looking across and up. He's not seeing you. Now, as this happens, you hear right across from this a door, and you hear a little cling cling. What do? You get one thing to do. You are peeking around the corner to see this guy that's bored and waiting for his triumphant ambush. Real me would freeze, but I assume Steph is tougher than me. Steph Winterlight had a life of a little bit of piracy under the belt, trained a bit in a temple atop a permafrost glacier, Batman Begins style. Meets Sub-Zero, I guess, before they came back to the mainland. They hear the sound and shrinks away from that. Out from that, clearly pops out the other, with the chains around their forearms. And this clinking sound that you heard of glass on metal is them holding a wine bottle in their hand. And he kind of thrusts it out to offer across. And the other one's like, no! Shh! Trust me. If they're coming, they're coming. They don't stand a chance. I know, but it's supposed to be. They're taking this sweet time. You hear a little gluk, 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 gluk. Well? No. Too nervous. Alright. And he puts down the bottle on the cobbles and assumes his position with the chain. The chain fists kind of like prepped like this, waiting against the door. I guess they knew you guys were following them. Some parkour like moved and launched themselves off the wall to hit the guy in the bottom hallway. Yeah, so like do a little bit of a 1-2 step up on the wall, push off with one leg and like flying kick to the other end. Could do. You can get a surprise on one of them, yes. You can get a surprise on one of them before initiative is rolled. Either can be surprise attacked right now. Neither of them know you guys are there. The stealth check was a dirty 21. Like, it was amazing. An 8. Now, that is with a lot of pluses. So, short sword is now a +7 to hit because of the +1 scimitar. A 15. That's going to be a 15, which absolutely just makes it past the AC of the person across. You do hit. You make it through. Actually, you're at a +8 because you have the dex up even further. So it's like a +9 or something right now. It's nuts. Yeah, you got it. You got it. So they push off, reverse grip, draw out the scimitar, slash at this bruiser who's just like sees you vaulting towards him, and he's starting to cower with his like the chains around his forearms, like trying to come up for a defensive thing. And you lower your blade just in time to get underneath where he's blocking right across. So D6. Whoa! You rolled a 6. Oh my goodness. So that's +6. So you did 12 points of damage. So you can't come flying in, and the blade scrapes deep, cuts through the studded leather, and slices right across the diaphragm, deep in, and his elbows immediately like drop over where you cut, and he just... He's not looking good. Now we roll initiative. There we go. 18. Oh my god. A 23. A 17. So a 19. They surprise the people trying to surprise attack them. Steph is at the top of the round again. Now you have action, bonus action. So go ahead. Ooh, it was a matter of time. So the first one misses. You did the slash across. You used your other hand to push off and like land, make your landing. And you go for the next slash, and now he's hunched down, and his giant forearms are in front of his head. He's tucked in, and the scimitar just makes sparks across his chains. And I sprayed all over my computer for entertainment. The second one is a 7. However, your dex is flying high right now, which is a 12. It's not enough. Slash down, you see that they're all hunched, so you're hoping to bludgeon them back, and you serve a kick, but he begins standing up and bracing forward, and he absorbs the kick completely with his forearms and like pulls his crossed forearms away, the chains jingling. His first swing with his chained fist misses you, and he comes for another one. Ooh, that one hits with a dirty 20. The second one hits with a dirty 20. 4 bludgeoning damage. What will Sir Reginald do? Move up 1 and hug a javelin at the one up top. Okay. So to get in a vantage point like that, you're going to have to do that. To get that range, because that's a corner right there. Now, listen. That's an 8. Sir Reginald has those dice to use if you wish. Roll me a d10. A 5! So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You actually get through it. So this strikes true. 7 piercing. Okay. Good, and even in this dim light, you could see just around the corner that bruisery large shoulder poking out, and just the edge of the neck and the face kind of poking around in shock as they begin seeing more people coming around the corner. And as they're looking and trying to shrink away, all of a sudden, the javelin, it's too late, and blam, right in his side, and it tears through the leather and cuts into the side of this bruiser holding his club. Undershera is next. They run forward. They cannot see shit. They're going to do 5, 10, grab the wall sconce torch, and they're going to run up here. Now they have the torch, so they're good. They're going to throw the torch on the ground, pull out the short sword and shield. Now it's the other guy's turn. He comes up behind, and gives a good old clobber to Steph Winterlight. That is not going to hit. The AC of Steph Winterlight is too damn high. Steph Winterlight just gets built in Elden Ring and wins. Like, barely get spawned in, and the last boss dies. That is how much AC Steph Winterlight has right now. I would need to roll a 19 plus to hit Steph in the state they're in right now. Gotta love when chat creates really interesting playable species. Time for Savine Darius. So he's running up ahead, squeezing through allies for double, and just makes it in to thrust in with the spear. Not 20. They're running behind, seeing the targets very faintly between the shoulders of... I mean, Undershera and Savine Darius, they're both like kind of Roman soldier build, like a little bit shorter. Roman soldier / Mongolian. Pretty, short / average, but sturdy. Savine warns Undus, like, turn! And he's there with his shield and his torch, and he turns to give them way, and they rush forward with the spear and plunge in to this one. All right, let's see what this... Oh my god. This crit. So that is 13. What's the plus here? 15 damage. So Savine Darius charges through. Ah! This bruiser has just missed Steph. Steph has just like stepped out of the way. Sparks from the iron banding on the club smack against the masonry, and just as it smacks, there's a squelch, and he lets go of the club, and it clatters to the ground, and he looks over and sees the spear just stuck out, exit wounded from him. The Vendalion like pulls it out and whacks him across the face with the butt of it, and he just like topples to the ground. Steph Winterlight. Short sword attacks. Okay, so going for that scimitar swing. A 13 is a just miss, so I need you to maybe take one of the die if you want to succeed. There you go. You get it. Now roll d6 for the scimitar. Hell yeah. +5, so 10. Steph Winterlight. Taking this bruiser by surprise, all tough and fit and agile, flexing these wrapped large forearms of chains, will now meet their end. Like Steph comes at them as if to attack head on, feigns, flips over them, and while in the flip, slices the back of the head open, and superhero lands. Oh my god. Slice bang. Like, you know, arm forward, arm back with the scimitar, like curved behind them. And the guy's head just flaps open, and the neck and everything. It's gross. It's dead. He's dead. So there are 2 corridors. So there's a large door in front of you. Facing north and south are the 2 corridors that these guys were hiding within the respective alcoves of. You move on up to see. You are met with a room full of beds, it seems. There's wall sconces with torches there. Seems like a decently lit room. You see these very like rough shot wooden panel beds. It seems to be where this organization's people get to sleep. It's a sort of barracks, it seems. The room also continues into a more narrow corridor a little bit further over to the left. Congratulations, you've found the toilets. Searching the area, do you see anything out of place? I would say this is probably going to be a group effort, so I will allow an advantage roll, but I do advantage as each person that is assisting rolls, so it'll be between Reginald and yourselves with your own bonuses. Can we take a break, number 1 for me? Oh, that's good. Oh, that's a much better roll. Aren't you glad you waited? So that is an 18. Okay, because investigation check is a -1, but that's still a great roll. You are gonna get. Let's see if Sir Reginald can crit for you on the assistance. Oh no way. That's just the 7. Rolls a 6 +1, 7. Nope, that's not gonna help. But luckily, you know, the search goes well. You're searching for anything unusual. Steph, you were into smuggling for a little bit. You were on the high seas a little bit. You know these types fairly well. So you instruct everyone on where to look, and you cover a lot of ground really quickly. You look under the beds, you look at the masonry, see if there's any, like, you know, any of the mortar that's been chipped away, and any sort of, like, little hiding places and things like that. You find small trinkets and things that are kind of not really of note. However, at some point you do come across, underneath one of the beds, scraped away at some of the masonry, is a little hole. The masonry is very patchwork and uneven because these stones have been stolen from the roads and things, so to build this area. So this gap is pretty big where the mortar was placed and now chipped away. And you reach your hand in, you pull out a small leather satchel. It has 12 copper coupon for shawarma. That coupon's probably worth more than 12 copper. That's amazing. I love it. I want... why'd you have to say shawarma? I want shawarma now. Between all of these beds, you find 3 lockpicks, and you find a dagger. Okay, so we've seen it. There's nothing there. You don't see anything special in the washrooms. The Vandalian soldiers specifically seem a little bit perturbed by seeing all this, thinking that their own people would stoop to living conditions such as these. They're a little bit proud, these two. Go down next. Yeah, it looks like both ones are. Miraculously, right in this corridor next to the door, just before you open the door, is that bottle of wine, with only a few sips missing from it, from the bruiser with the chains in his forearms. So the bottle of wine is pretty intact, give or take maybe a couple of sips and some backwash in there. So, you know, drink at your own risk, but it is alcohol. Do you have any kind of healing? So there is a healing pool from Reginald Tonberry, I believe. You get the impression this place has seen some activity though. With that investigation check in the other room, like, the smells of people living there are ripe. It's clear that this is not a place that sees little to no activity. So you're not sure what the next hour will bring. You are now in you are looking at a large storeroom. So you have found... because I'll tell you what I do for this mechanic, okay? Especially because it's a poor area and whatever. Well, for most loot that involves like finding money on people, I usually roll a d4. And then I let the player roll whatever I think might scale up to what they might find. So the d4 is copper, silver, gold, platinum. So you have found 7 copper between the two of them. I deal with inventory stuff later, so don't worry about it for now. That's why I made the spreadsheet. I go through the pain so you don't have to. Okay, you search the place. Let's do the investigation rolls. Let's see what Steph rolls. Oh, right, investigation is a -1, so it's a 10. Let's see if Reginald can help you do a little bit better. A 3. You come around a few things. It's a 10. You get a pretty basic run of... I mean, a lot of this stuff is labeled to different people that should be receiving them. Often Ascalian names, as you would know. You can see in color now the beautiful mahogany wood of like the giant wine barrels. Food supply, it is dwindling. You also get to see some ingots of iron and other such metals. There's like a very heavy box in the corner that you open, and there's only like a few left. There's some blacksmithing tools as well, but they seem to be like all thrown in a hodgepodge of like just metallic tools. You even see a small anvil in there. You see some calipers, you see hammers and other such things. Don't see any weapons here, but it's a lot of resources. You see 3 in a crate that is very big. You take 3 iron ingots. Loose bricks for notes. Oof, that's a 3. You don't see anything. Oh, we are gonna heal up. We're gonna use the healing pool, right? Are we doing a healing pool to heal up Steph back to full health? Okay. So Reginald will approach and use 4 of the 5 and heal Steph's bludgeons. So you make your way out this door. I would say you've probably spent 20 minutes here in total, between the combat and searching these rooms. But who's gonna blast open the door with their shoulder? He's gonna ram it with his head. He might get to use his racial ability then. He's got a racial ability that's for this, like for using his horns as weapons. There's an 18. Now roll me the damage. Damn. Look at that. I roll the damage not because you're going to be quote-unquote hurting this, but I want to see the degree to which the door is resisting the impact. Like, is it going to blast open when you do this, or is it going to splinter open when you do this? That's kind of the degree. I'm using the d6 as a degree. So, with an 8, okay? Sir Reginald looks at everyone and says, move back. Everyone steps back and gives him a space. He puts his warhammer strapped across his back and he braces himself. He pulls back and he swings. You think he's just gonna like ram in, but he swings his body forward, like pushes off his legs and blasts through these doors. There's definitely a deadbolt or something on the other side of this door, and it is done. It splinters open. Splinters shower everywhere. And you hear shouts from the other side. Several people shouting from the other side. But you do blast through, and splinters fly everywhere, and all, like, there's these 3 thugs that just kind of like hide behind chairs or like move behind a pillar, and they're all brandishing different weapons, and some of them jumped out of a chair that they were sitting on or leaning on and topples them to the ground. You're in a room that's got a bunch of chairs in it, 4 pillars. The walls are lined with weapons. I'm gonna need initiative, guys. So Savine Darius is up. Charge in. Like, I'm completely impressed by the display of strength and the use of the horns, and a little bit terrified, but inspired that, you know, this one's on our side at least. And again, being the one that did the killing blow with the spear, charges forward and takes the nearest one over here. So they charge in, spear in 2 hands still, running forward quickly for 7 piercing damage. This thug in particular is especially large of the 3 of them. The spear scrapes by and the tip catches the bone of the ribs and tears the skin sideways, and he clutches his, she clutches her side and scowls down. So Reginald's turn. Ooh, charge. The first time the charge gets used. You do need to move strategically to make this work. Do you want to stack Antler Gore on this? Stack it? Okay. Oh my goodness. 1 more d6. I don't know if this big lady is going to survive. 5 plus 2, 7. Then 9, 10, 11. We got 18 piercing damage. I passed the con saving throw, crazy enough. Not only did you push her and gore her into the pillar, which like just made your antlers embed into her torso more, but you like glanced her off of it and tossed her back. So she kind of bounced off of the pillar after the goring and like flung off against the wall, and there's a clattering as like the weapon racks, she slams into them and all these sword blades like slap against the wall and everything. They're in terrible shape. They're not, like, she's not looking good. She's still on her feet somehow. This one's pretty terrified, but they're gonna give it an old college try because they're kind of trapped. This one's gonna come in to try and hold off the soldier. Swing. It's another person with these chains. That's a miss. Oh, and then a crit. This one swings in with the chains. The Vandalian soldier sees it coming. Savine ducks, but then the other one is an undercut to the gut. Boom. And it's a crit. A 5 bludgeoning. Luckily that chainmail is really holding true, and so the undercut was actually able to be weighed in resistance with the chainmail that they're wearing now, thanks to you guys looting a bunch of things and getting those crates. The Vandalian soldiers have armed themselves a little bit better with chain shirts. Savine does get a little bit of a wallop. Now hurt terribly, hungry for vengeance, the larger woman comes forward and brandishes her club, making her way around the pillar, and takes a swing. Oh my goodness. Her hurting and bleeding out from everywhere is not helping. And she's coming forward, holding her gut with one hand and brandishing the club with the other. Savine is able to move out of the way and let it just swing past them. Steph is next. Okay, so that's the sword, that's the scimitar, which is a 15. They're already hit. They've already hit. You do the slashy slash. You know, you do the run up and you slice across, and it gets them. It gets them good. Like, most of the armor is gone, and it's done a pretty decent surface cut along like their arm here and down. So it's kind of crunching and buckling from it. Oh, but the hand attack. Nope. That will not work. And that one is just a fail. You go in for a punch and they block it with the chain forearms. You have that key composure. And when you, even though you follow through all the way, the pain of that, you're able to negate it and dissociate from that pain and just come right back into it. But you're still feeling, you know, that the rattle in your bones is still very prevalent from nailing those iron chains. Undes Hera is a little bit confused, and the next person in initiative is also quite confused. Standing against the wall, just seeing all this unfold and starting to see past the ferocity of this paladin Shret Legend looking down on him, and like in the midst of battle. As terrified as they are, they run towards the pillar and lean against it to even get their face and voice out there close to the Vandalian soldiers. What are you all doing? Why are you fighting us? We are one of you. Why do you come here and take and kill? We heard there were soldiers of your ilk here. What is the meaning of this? And that's going to be the turn. We're at the top of the next round, and it is already 10:24. So we're going to leave it here today.